If you are enjoying this podcast and other podcasts on the Dragon Wagon Radio Network, be sure to check out the Dragon Wagon Shop. Awesome t-shirts and mugs from your favorite shows so you can tout your podcast pride, all while supporting your favorite indie podcast network. And make sure to check it often for new items and limited time designs. So shop now at dragonwagonshop.com and get your dragon swag on. Hello and welcome to Dungeons and Dragon Wagon, the Chapter 6 Round Table. It is a full house here today. I, myself, your not-so-humble host, Jake Lloyd.
Your very humble DM, Paul Bianchi.
See, it shows how humble he isn't, because he says he's... Wait, what? I lost my own train of thought. Who else is here?
The bumbling Matt Hicksman.
And the very competent Alexandra Hoy.
Perfect. So Chapter 6 is in the books, and it was all over the place.
I liked it.
It was a fun chapter, which was a nice reprieve after the last two chapters, which were very heavy. And our guest of quest was Sarah Oliver.
Sarah.
I think out of all of the guests that we've had on thus far, Sarah is our oldest friend collectively, at least for
Sure.
Matt and Paul. Paul, you and Sarah go back. You guys go back how far?
10 years.
10 years.
Wow.
Okay, so not that much longer than you and I go back.
Yeah, I mean,
Can you sense the rivalry, listeners, between Sarah and I for Paul's love?
yeah, Sarah and I met. I think we're almost at 10 years. 10 years will happen in the spring of 2019, and we need to do some sort of 10-year friendiversary.
Well,
For sure.
Then what are we gonna do?
We are going to have. I'm trying to think of another thing that friend can glue into as a word.
What about a Friendsdragava? Extravaganza? No, Friendsdraganza. Wait, what?
I definitely
Extravaganza?
thought you were going to say friends Dragorgum.
What?
Like orgasm or something.
A friendgasm?
A friendgasm.
Friendgasm.
I think. I mean, a 10-year friendgasm would be just would coat the
A
walls.
long time coming.
10-year. Listen, listeners, it's very early. We're recording this round table
goodness.
early in the morning.
So we knew it wasn't just going to
Early.
be whether or not Sarah would do it. It was just going to be when, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And yeah, she's
she was great.
yeah, she's and I hope she takes this as a compliment. She's not going to listen. Sarah's a Muppet. She's like a Muppet of a human being. She's just like super playful and like high energy, and she's always like laughing, and so she was perfect for this character who has been stuck by herself in a cave.
And are those strings moving her arms? No, that's just cat hair.
I feel like that was more of a dig than that felt a little personal. To be honest with you.
She knows.
Did you know going into it, Paul, that like this is the type of character that I wanted her to be? Or because I know like we've talked on these roundtables before that, you know, the characters, the guests of quests rather have freedom over how they play their characters, but their characters' stories are handed to them. Did you foresee her as being so silly and fun?
As usual, I leave it open to interpretation based off of the blip that I give them. And I told Sarah, hey, this is Layla. This is the song that was written about her. This was her station. She's this famous knight, and she feels like her legend has been tainted by this false bard tune. Also, you've been in a cave for like 2 weeks, surviving off of...
Wait, it was only 2 weeks?
2 weeks?
Uh-huh. Surviving off of spider innards.
See,
and-
I don't
The
think...
impression it was months.
Months. Yeah, the idea that it was months is what came out to us when we were playing.
I mean, she definitely stole the stir crazy way more than I intended.
And admittedly, though, I think that every time it came up how long she was there, the answer was different. Like, as it came up, she was like, I've been under this cave for weeks, and then I've been in the cave for months, or whatever the bit was every single time it changed.
Yeah, it's been 40 years. Yeah, so I didn't know that she was going to... I thought that she was going to play her playful, but I didn't know that she was... specifically, I didn't know that she was going to have her be so flirtatious and thirsty.
Meow.
Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely had eyes for Ornie, that's for sure.
Many women do.
And men.
That's
Uh-huh.
true. That's
Yes,
true.
uh-huh.
He's
Very true.
equal opportunist.
He is.
So yeah, chapter 6 started after our teleportation out of Norrance's castle's throne room, and we didn't know where we were. We knew that we were going to be brought to some great power via Ornie's
Kelbana Stone power.
his incantation of Ornie is the best.
I don't know why.
Ornie is a cool guy.
Ornie's a cool guy,
I
right?
don't know why I was surprised. Like I was, and I'm glad I was surprised, but I don't know why I expected like, yep, this is gonna happen exactly like we want it to.
You were like, we're going to end up in Silverhand.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's because when we're playing the game, we get invested. Like we're invested as the characters, and when it's like, all right, this is going to work. We're going to do this now.
Oh,
like,
no way. I definitely never. I was like, oh, we're gonna end up somewhere bad, or it was actually less bad than I thought. I thought it was gonna be way worse.
Like
so.
in like the heart of the enemy's chambers
Yes.
or something.
Yes.
But we ended up in this cave that we didn't know, and there were spiders everywhere. And I really thought Matsun was going to enjoy that more than he did.
Yeah, I mean, they're spiders.
But Matsun loved spiders.
I guess I didn't have any of the soup, so you guess I could say I was
That's-
being respectful.
That's fair. Yeah, junk power down
It's a
that.
quiet love.
Yeah, for sure.
I always think about this because I draw maps of every location that we go to. And I had the dark tunnel that was unobscured by spider webs. And then I had the light tunnel that was obscured by spider webs. And so I thought, there's lightness that seems like, oh, this is a good way to go. But there's definitely danger because of the spider webs, or the darkness, which is only scary because it's dark. And I was like, for sure they're gonna, I don't know, they're probably gonna explore both. And you guys sure didn't. You just kept going.
I think that we didn't get that.
Oh yeah.
Because now that you're saying that, and obviously it's been a while since we played Chapter 6 in real time, but I thought we did go the one with the light.
You did go with
We
the
did
one
go
with
the
light.
one with the light.
But you said that was the one that also had spider webs, because there were spider webs in that one too, right?
No,
No.
it was
Oh.
just dark. And had you guys gone through the dark tunnel,
Would have just like stairs and we would have been right outside.
no, in the dark tunnel, that was the original entrance to this cave from the city of Dagra.
Right.
And you would have discovered the story that would have been told from what you found would have been a father and mother and infant had their infant had been turned to stone by the cockatrice.
Oh.
And so there had been a stone baby and 2 skeletons and a book on how to reverse
The stone.
a stone condition.
Gotcha.
And you would have been able to use this book to all the way at the end. You found the mortar and pestle with the lamb's ear, and there would have been direct instructions on how to make a potion of soft,
Gotcha.
which Ornie could have then
Used, yeah.
but now he'll never know.
Right. But admittedly, we had a magic wand that did that for us.
Magic
Yes.
wand.
Thanks to Matsun's sticky fingers for
To my
magic
always
items.
wanting to my hoarding
You really,
hoarding of magical
you
items.
really are a magical item hoarder. And I feel like junk is a shit nobody needs hoarder.
Well, but that wand has only so many charges. So if someone gets turned to stone in the future, who knows if you'll be able to undo it?
Well, we've used 5 of them so far, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
We used one on the elf whose armor you took,
Right.
which gave you like a ton of bonus shit, like plus 5 stealth and shit like that. We used one on Junk, one on Ornie, one on Adeline, one on Scampersand. And so there's been 5. So I don't know how many there are on there. Could potentially Matsun roll a further investigation or an insight to see how many there are to know? Or is it just like one day you're going to be like, it doesn't work?
I think that Matsun in a prior life, before his magic acumen was wiped clean, would have been able to discern how many charges there were left.
God damn it, Matsun, you and your amnesia, your magical amnesia.
Magic amnesia.
But yeah, I feel like there was so much world underneath that cave. First off, I absolutely loved the Shining Below tune. I hope that the listeners
That was
enjoyed
so
that.
great.
That was awesome.
So catchy. We all had it in our heads for
And believe
weeks.
believe it or not, that was all Alexandra singing that.
Yeah, Alexandra sang the entire song. She did
Every harmony.
all the parts.
At once. It was very impressive.
I'm very talented.
Yeah, that was one of those moments. We'll pull back the curtain where, like, Paul sang it as we were playing the game as DM, and he was like, "This is what you're hearing." And then after it ended, we were like, that we're going to have to record that. so Paul, myself, and Matt all recorded those massive amounts of dwarven voices. They were dwarves, right? Not gnomes, right?
Yeah, they're dwarves.
Yeah, dwarven voices.
You always mix those up.
It's just because this world is filled with mostly dwarves and gnomes, and so I sometimes get confused of where we are.
And despite that, most of the like major characters we've encountered have not been dwarves.
Yeah, most of them have been like humans or elves or something.
Yeah.
I
forget that it's mostly dwarves, right? The area we're in.
Yeah, the Shells Basin is mostly inhabited by dwarves.
Because the gnomes are the ones who are attacking, who stole the Kalbana stones.
Right.
But yeah, so there was all this world building and all of this life that was down in this cave. But I feel like what we know as the Kalbana stones are just a joke compared to the true power.
Right. They're literally just like a chip off of some larger source. Right?
One might say the tip of the iceberg, the magical iceberg. And so there is a lot going on in Rymore that even the people of Rymore don't know. It also makes me wonder what Layla's mom was up to. Because we learned a little bit about Layla's mom, who was an archaeologist. That's what they're called, right? Archaeologist or an anthropologist. She worked in anthropology. And so she was clearly like, digging for something down there, and she found the stalagmite that Layla was camping around. I wonder what her motives were down there, unless she was just like seeking knowledge.
I mean, as an archaeologist, she would be down there looking for clues about past civilizations and about how did these people live? Like, let's dig up the ruins of Dagra. But I think that she was probably out of her depth as an archaeologist as opposed to a geologist. Is that she wouldn't be able to really identify that. She might have been on her way out looking for someone who could help her with that.
She had the wrong ology.
Yes.
Yeah, that happens all the time. You get the wrong ology, you get them mixed up. But in any case, we made it out of that magical tunnel, and we didn't really I feel like we fought that. What did we come up with? The Centipriests?
The Centipriestess?
The Centipriestess, which was by far
the priestess-pede.
Priestess.
That one's hard to say.
Yeah. That was by far, I think, the grossest thing we've ever fought.
Sure.
It was like a human centipede of
I mean,
ghost
any
priests.
human centipede is gross.
Sure.
Whatever it's for.
Matt, I actually thought that you might get a kick out of it, as to my knowledge of the four of us, you were the most into watching anime.
I guess so.
Yeah, and I think of a beast like that as being particularly a certain brand of anime.
Is there anything in particular that you're thinking of?
I was thinking of Berserk a little bit, or maybe JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like that sort of like weird, distorted human body. Maybe even Ghost in a Shell a little bit.
I guess I just wasn't picturing it right. I think in my mind kept wanting to make it friendlier, so I was thinking of that thing from Bug's Life. What was he?
Wait, what's
the fat little,
the cute little fat?
He's
Swedish,
like German or Swedish.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I kept thinking of that to make it nicer.
Looks like the watermelon.
So I think that's what we were fighting in my
A
mind.
caterpillar.
I love the idea that
Not even a centipede; it was a caterpillar.
I love the idea that as we go through this game, like Nat is just changing
reimagining it.
everything into a Pixar character,
Disneyfying things or Pixaring things.
I absolutely
Maybe at least had that face. If not the body.
this disgusting body with all these bones protruding and these hands and legs as just nothing but legs, yet you're still like have this cartoon smiley face, which is kind of more terrifying actually.
Especially if it was like worn as a face on top of its real face.
Like a what's his name? Like Leatherface?
Yeah.
Like he cut off. Yeah, that's horrifying. Yeah, where's that art? Come on, I want to see that. But yeah, what else happened in 6.1? I mean, there was a lot of that whole underwater sequence was
That was fun.
tense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really fun in the edit. I really enjoyed that because that Junk could have died.
Yeah,
Junk could have died easily.
If Junk had rolled very horribly,
Right.
he could have been pinned under rocks, and I am very glad that he didn't roll horribly.
That would have been a long game trying to figure out how to salvage it.
Yeah, that would have been tricky. I was wondering, like, as Rasa's vessel, if she would have come to his aid at all.
I would have convinced her to help me.
Yeah.
We got these the Graflets finally. That was cool.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what I just remembered just now?
What's that?
We never sold one or gave one to Layla, remember she asked for one? She was like, when we're done with these, I'd love to keep one. It would be great if the woman known for drowning had a hat that could make her. And then Mattson was like, we'll talk about that later. And then he took it back. But then we never revisited
Typical
it.
Mattson.
Oh, man.
I think to be fair, you guys need it a little bit more than she does.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, she was probably the most powerful character we've met, like a guest rather, right off of the bat.
Yeah.
And I think we said the exact same thing about Asteria when we met Asteria, but then Layla raised that bar.
Right. Well, she is a renowned knight,
Yeah, she had
for better or worse.
she had like tricks up her sleeve. Literally, there was magic in her gauntlet.
Yeah, I wanted to give Layla particularly that gauntlet when I knew that Sarah was going to be playing her, because Sarah loves Game of Thrones so much and loves Daenerys
Nice.
so much that I was like, oh, she has to be in some way a mother of dragons.
Of a dragon.
As you said, the mother of drakes
Yes.
on the episode.
Yes.
We met the Ghost Guardian.
And we learned about the Sky Tillers,
Right.
which sounds to me, speaking of Japanese anime, that sounds like a what's his face's a movie that what's that Japanese anime everybody likes?
Miyazaki.
Yeah, that totally sounds like one of his movies, The Sky Tillers. And then we
Castle in the Sky Tillers.
nailed it. And then we rummaged through cabinets like we tend to do, and Layla, who doesn't need any more, like took a bunch of magical staffs.
Oh yeah,
shoved them in her pants.
Yeah, a rod for Adeline has
She
one.
did give
I
one.
do have one.
right.
Yeah.
See,
What does that rod do? I forgot.
it's just an
We're gonna
inert.
find out.
It's an inert magical staff. It has a magical stone on the end of it, but it's inert right now. It needs to be imbued with some
So
sense
right now
of
it's
magic.
an inanimate carbon rod.
Yes.
All right.
Let's talk a little bit about in-game inventory management. How is everybody doing? Because I feel like we're getting to the point now, halfway through this game, more than halfway at this point now, that like we're collecting so much shit that I find myself in the moment going like, what can I use that I haven't used yet? And I feel like Mattson, you probably have the most things.
I definitely forget to write stuff down.
Do you re-listen to episodes and update your character
I was
sheet?
like, oh, wait, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I forgot I had that thing.
I am running out of space on my page to write things. I keep collecting so much.
Yeah, but Paul, are you regretting your free floating inventory at this point?
No, I think a lot of the DMs that I have played with before have basically said like, I'm not going to say you can't pick up something unless you physically are not able to. Like,
Unless it's a strength check.
Yeah, it's like,
Hey, can I carry this boulder with me?
Yeah, can I always have this canoe on me? No.
Right.
It's that's when it's too big. But
so you sort of find your limit of what you allow.
But I do imagine you guys all with these like overstuffed IKEA bags wherever you guys go now.
I like the idea. That they're like IKEA bags where you can't quite carry them comfortably.
No.
Like they're those big straps or the little ones, and the little ones make it too hard to carry, but the big ones make it so that when you walk, they flop around.
Yeah.
There's like no niceties in the
There's no drawstring on the mouth,
not at
so
all.
like everything can spill out pretty easily.
I saw myself more as that character from the Labyrinth, just like everything
is
stacked on
stacked
my
on top of
back.
you?
I'm just,
It's weird that you bring that up because we were having that conversation not that long ago where I feel like
your next character.
I feel like I want my next character to be like a pack rat, inspired by the name of this current character, Junk. But we have a long time to go before we get there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just like on random weapons alone, like I used the ornamental pike in the fight with the cockatrice, which I was like, oh, I have a thing that's like sharp.
You're
'Cause
welcome.
Junk, thanks, Adeline. Junk doesn't have sharp things generally, and nothing he can really throw. But I also still have a whip on me that we haven't used. I feel like Mattson, you
that
have.
you know of. I mean, I imagine Ornie's use that whip.
Well, I mean, I got
he was
it
asleep.
from a slave driver. I don't think it's been used. Oh, maybe it has been used for sex. Oh, that got dark. Never mind.
Oh no! Oh my!
But Mattson, you have like magic wand.
I have a few wands. I have at least 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, he has Solcian's wand as
Oh,
well.
that's right.
Mhm.
Mattson, you gotta start using some of this shit. He's like, yeah, I'd like to use my backstab attack. It's like it's the thing he started the game with.
But then I've also like during the fight with the cockatrice, he's like, yeah, I'm going to use this old bottle of alcohol, which of course turned out to be
Which was awesome.
a mystical mushroom tonic.
Yeah, that was so cool.
That was one of my favorite moments of the entire chapter.
It's such a vivid image.
Yeah.
It's also one of my favorite parts of any fight we've had.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like that's something that as the game goes on, we all get better at is thinking outside the box during a fight.
Right.
Because, I mean, and that's not to say that sometimes it's not like, hey, Adeline's just going to draw a fucking plain arrow back and shoot at his face. Hell, that's what killed the cockatrice this fight.
Yeah.
So it's not to say that that's bad, but it is fun to start thinking about alternative ways to, fight an enemy beyond our, special attacks and our standard weapons.
Yeah.
Sure. Imagine if the charm arrow had succeeded,
Oh, God.
and she
Would've been
just
great.
had a
Pet
a
cockatrice.
pet cockatrice for however long until the charm would wear off. But at least-
Watson would have left the group.
What would you have done if that worked, Adeline?
It's regrettable there was no one around to use that cockatrice on.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you could have just told him to go away. You could have, I don't know, she's got a pretty good animal handling rating. So you probably could have, convinced him.
I think
to
my
fly.
fear would have been that once it wore off, it wouldn't have cared about my instructions. So
Yeah, but we would have been long gone by then.
I would probably just have it commit suicide.
Jesus Christ.
Look
Oh
in
my
that mirror over
God.
there.
That is like a real Kilgrave fucking mentality. I'm going to take control of its mind and have it shove its hand in a garbage disposal.
I mean,
Spoilers.
got to do what you got to do.
Or,
Yeah, but as much as I like, trying. I'm going to try this
Right.
clever thing. Like, it's also fun when it doesn't go well like
Yeah,
that. And when
yeah.
I tried to stab the
The evil. Oh, that's right. We came across an evil Kalbana stone in 6.1.
I tried to stab it, and my weapon broke.
Your brand,
brand new
which
dagger.
normally would suck, but in the game I was like, oh, that was awesome.
right.
Yeah. No, and it adds depth to, the story and there's consequences.
Yeah, consequences.
It's better in that sense because then there's stakes.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah, and I also feel like there's also all this other secret shit that Matson has that he bought in Chapter 5 that we still don't know about. Who knows what kind of random shit he's going to start throwing at enemies at this point.
Well, we're getting down to the nitty gritty.
That we
last few
are.
episodes, so hopefully we'll see some of that stuff.
I also
I have a few random things too. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I think even outside of fights, it might be fun just for us to try and implement these things.
Sure.
Figure out what they are.
I feel like we really enjoy good role play. This group, I feel like we all want to talk a lot in character, and we like that. I think that's the thing that we enjoy most. So I think
Well, we like character development.
we also just like having conversations in character a lot.
Oh yeah, it's so fun.
And I think because of that, sometimes we are not nose deep in game sheets going like, oh, you know what if I do also have this summoner's prism that I bought? What if I, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. And I think that's what I don't know. I think that's what makes D&D fucking so fun is that there's just so many.
It's a
at
lot
any
of
given
depth.
point, you can just do whatever you want. Like it's completely and totally open ended, obviously within the DM's allowance. But
I think that's part of playing with a smaller group too. I've played with a group that's been 8 travelers.
oh man, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And when that happens, some people are doing something. Meanwhile, the other players are nose deep in their character sheet, thinking okay, so what am I going to do? What am I going to plan?
And are they even listening?
Exactly,
Or engaged? I actually think that we've got a perfect number. I like 4 players and a DM.
Yeah.
I always feel like that's the best. I think the most I've ever played with was 6 players and a DM. And I remember being like, this is too many people. Because at some point, it's the people that are going to engage, and the people that are listeners just listen. And then it's almost like you just have NPCs with you. That,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That and I always feel like as somebody who does enjoy playing and does enjoy the character, we're all kind of that way where I feel like we all probably have a ton of gamer's remorse after every chapter.
Oh, always,
Yeah.
always.
Because gamer's remorse, obviously, if that doesn't make sense to you, it just means, oh, crap, I wish I did something different in that instance, or I wish I said this. And I think it's because we're all chomping at the bit to be a part of specific things. And when you have a group that's too big, I feel like,
Makes that window even narrower.
or that sliding scale gets deeper. Any other thoughts on chapter 6 in general?
People being turned to stone is one of my favorite fantasy. What's the word I want?
Trope?
Tropes. Yeah.
Yeah?
For whatever reason, I love that. I love it, but also creeps me out. In Return to Oz,
Mm-hmm.
that was a Oz sequel. She returns and everyone's turned to stone, and including the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and shit. Oh, that's really cool. I don't know why I like it.
All right, hang on a second. why have I never even heard of Return to
No?
Oz?
You've never heard of Return to Oz?
Starring Fairuza Balk. Is that
Fairuza Balk is Dorothy again, because I mean it was made so much later than the first.
When was
Wizard
that
of Oz.
made?
It's supposed to be.
80s.
It's more of like a sequel to the book, The Wizard of Oz, right?
Yeah.
It's not supposed to. It's
Right,
it's very
right.
very dark. It's very weird.
I have never even heard of this.
It kind of honors more of that darkness in the book.
Yeah,
Oh my god, I want to watch that like today.
should watch it.
Hey, it's Halloween.
It's Halloween. We're recording this on Halloween. Happy post-Halloween, listeners.
Yeah.
No matter when you're listening to this, it could be you could be listening to this in February right now. Happy post-Halloween. I hope you had a
or pre-Halloween.
or have a good Halloween coming up if you're listening to this. That's the fun thing about podcasts. They last forever. You could be listening to this in the year 2025. We could all be dead right now. We died in a terrible bus
Apocalypse?
accident. Or the
Bus
apocalypse. Which, let's be honest. it
or
seems like-
Halloween has been abolished in the year, and it's like, oh, I remember.
oh, we're reminding people of the good old days.
Yeah. Have you
And-
guys heard about that idea to like? People are signing a sheet to make Halloween always be on the last Saturday of October.
I only saw a meme about it, so I never know if that's how I get my news these days is through memes.
There's the one that I
You know what? Can I tell you, he's not joking. I know for a fact, I know this man, and he is totally not joking. That is the only way he knows what's going on in the world.
Yeah, no, there's an actual petition going around to do this, like a council, like mothers who don't want their kids to stay up late on a school night. the council, like that's where it comes from.
I mean, it makes sense.
I hate
feel
it.
like it
I
should
hate
be
it.
a weekend holiday anyway.
I grew up in a small town, and at some point, I remember, like, I loved that no matter the weekday, you would go trick or treating.
You know what?
Yeah,
And then at some point, they were like, no, even if it falls on a Tuesday, we're going to have it on Saturday. And like, it would be like November 3rd. I'm like, this is so dumb.
You know what? I actually redact that comment because you are absolutely correct. I remember how exciting Halloween Day was in school.
Yeah.
When you were like, oh man, when we get out of school today,
Like, it didn't matter.
we're going to tear this town apart.
And, obviously it falls on the weekend sometimes. That's, I don't know. I hate it.
yeah.
I thought you were trying to make a fall pun, and then you just said a sentence, and I was like, "Oh, that didn't go where I thought it was going to go."
No, I haven't had enough coffee because you took it all.
Listen,
Coffee thief.
I didn't take. All right, first off, I just had a cup, and then I had another cup. You made the coffee. You could have made more. It's not like you offered any to any of our guests here.
That's because you drank it all. Also, they don't want coffee.
Listen, I need my coffee in the morning. I'm drinking out of my captain's mug. Whether or not it's has to do with how I see myself, leave that to interpretation. But
It's a
got
mug he stole from a captain.
Yes,
Stolen coffee out of a stolen mug.
I'm the captain now as he drinks his coffee.
I did enjoy on the listen that how much Layla did not enjoy Ornie's collection of orphan skulls. And yet she still went for the dip and the kiss at the end of the episode anyway.
Yeah, I feel like all that time, those 2 weeks in that cave, I feel
2
like
weeks in a cave is a long time.
it really is.
Yes,
I feel like maybe her bearings were lost because she definitely changed her mind on quite a few things throughout the course of the episode. There were times where she was extremely concerned about the people and everything, and then she was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
She got over things very quickly, I feel.
Yeah.
I think when you're that excited,
Well, she had been deprived of food and sustenance.
I mean, she was eating spiders and stuff.
I just
Who
can't imagine
knows?
that would taste very good.
Yeah. I mean, neither did Junk, but I ended up enjoying it quite a bit.
Yeah, the taste grew on him.
Yeah,
It was
Adeline ate brains. Ate spider brains.
Hey, it gave me resistance to poison.
I
and
imagine
diarrhea.
No, she was fine, I think.
imagine it tasted like Vegemite. Like it's like something you have to really grow to enjoy.
I also love, this might be one of my favorite character exits in an episode.
That she surfed
Oh,
away on amber
yes.
waves of grain.
That we,
It was very epic.
by the way, we spent 10 minutes of play time getting across a moat on a board. that then she just jumped over at the end as if it was nothing.
I feel like I can speak for Ernie when I said that he prefers that was what happened as opposed to being tossed. Like there's something very
Emasculating.
or just dehumanizing about
Yeah.
being
Yeah, Mattson.
denominizing.
Denominizing.
Yeah, Mattson was really into trying to recreate a story from his youth, apparently, about some sort of weird, maybe mutated people. Matt, I like how you always try to squeeze in like shit that you loved from your childhood. He's always like, and he always turns it into something in world. Like, there was this myth when I was young. I'm surprised you didn't say like there was this book of drawings that some would consider somewhat comical. Yeah, but sorry, we didn't do your fastball special, especially because we did it in chapter 1 and it did not work out well.
Did we?
Yeah, that's how Kelber Selfin died.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that was I guess that was a vertical.
A vertical.
Threw him through a ghost, which always seems like now is a bad idea.
Yeah, I feel like junk and throwing little people is a thing of the past.
Yeah, you're probably right.
He's scarred forever. I feel like this is the first chapter that he didn't reference his pube comb. I feel like
Was there anything in the moat?
there were other people and stone statues.
Yeah, there were people in stone statues.
And the snake that you threw in it.
But I mean, could we have just swam?
No, it was too low.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have been. The water level was too low. We wouldn't have been able to climb out. If we would have dove into it, we would have been stuck in the moat.
Oh.
Although we also could have attempted things with ropes. But I mean, listen, finding a board was the easiest thing we could do. I mean, we found a board. We walked across it. It was tense.
Matson did a round off.
Yeah, everybody did a round off.
Adeline just wiped her brow.
Yeah, but I also like that Layla had the most trouble getting across, but still did a somersault after the end of it.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was a very, and it was also, as from the words of Ornie, it was a very sing-songy chapter. I love all the references to the fact that both of the things that the major plot points of this chapter were the character of Layla and the town of Dagra. Did I say that right? And those were both songs that we learned in chapter 2 and 3. We sang Ornie sang the Village of Dagra song to Junk as they were walking through the crumbles of Cragshore. And every minor detail for the listeners, if you go back, if you're one of those types of listeners who captures every little detail, in the song that he sang in chapter 2, we learned that the orphanage didn't survive, but the trading post did. That the fire started in the pasture.
Yep.
But the moat or something like the moat protected the.
And if you had walked into the pasture, given the lyrics of the song, that because pigs turned pork and cows turned beef, you would have found
food,
the bones of meat that were picked clean by animals because there was all this delicious cooked.
Right. But I love all those.
Pig.
I do love all those little details that were just in those songs that just come back because you feel like
I love all that stuff.
Yeah, I feel like and Paul, you're great at that. Where if it's sometimes stuff is just throwaway. Sometimes it's just some fun color, and then sometimes it's like, oh no, that dumb throwaway thing has like major implications in the story.
I should go back and listen to some songs.
It's a rich
you
world.
should. You absolutely should.
And I think that might have been lost in the chapter, but the idea behind Layla's song was that the actual story is that Layla, this epic night, was attempted to be wooed by a fisherman
sexy
afterward.
fisherman, yeah.
And he and her likely did have a little bit of a romance, but she eventually grew tired of him because he was a boring fisherman.
Well, because he wasn't a small person. He was probably a normal human or
maybe.
And
yeah.
we know that she has a little thing for the little ones.
And so their romance fell apart. He felt scorned by her, and so he found a bard, and he was like, "Hey, what if you made a song that made her look really bad? That'd be good for me." And so then that song became really popular and spread.
Oh, man.
That was like it's like the medieval slam book.
Yeah,
It was like that. That's what it was.
Diss track.
Yeah, it was a diss track.
Uh-huh.
Oh shit, Eminem is gonna have a field day with that one.
Uh-huh.
All in all, chapter 6 was a goddamn romp. It was so fun. Sarah was a blast, and I really enjoyed how those came out too. Those are some of my favorite edits of those chapters. They were really fun to re-listen to. And really entertaining, and I can only assume that now the joy is behind us and everything will be awful and there will be nothing but death and murder ahead of us.
I mean, there certainly is some hardship ahead for sure.
You guys want to go ahead?
Sometimes I like to think of the storytelling of a D&D game as like the beginning is you're climbing up to the top of a pyramid, and then you get to the top, and then you just sort of slide down through.
Well, in chapter 6, we just walked down it.
That's true. Maybe that's why I put a pyramid in there.
By the way, another quick little sidebar here is the listeners didn't hear this because it's that part of the crosstalk that we leave out for the sake of making it an immersive adventure. But Matt came up with what the actual pyramids are called. And I remember Paul was so excited about having a new word.
Yeah, I forgot what they're called again.
Ziggurat.
Ziggurat.
I was so
You're like
surprised
proud.
that I taught Paul something.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Paul was so excited that he got a new word.
Yeah, I could use a ziggurat right now.
Yeah. Speaking of ziggurats, don't know what that means. You guys want to give
sounds
a
like a cigarette.
Oh,
Wordplay.
Yeah,
I didn't get it either.
I got it.
it's too early.
there we go.
It's way too early.
No, I mean, I've been having trouble with words. I couldn't think of the word petition earlier. I hope that was very clear.
No, it was clear. We all knew what you were saying.
We all knew
and
more
that you didn't get it.
Caffeine and our vices.
All right, you guys want to give away
Yes.
some shit?
Yes.
So the way this works is you leave a review and a rating. Really, it's the review that matters on iTunes for D&DW, and we will pick one at random every round table, and we will give you something. What you will get is up to you. You will go ahead and send us an email at contact@dndwpod, and we will let you know what your options are. I believe the winner of the Chapter 5 round table got themselves a free t-shirt from the Dragon Wagon shop. And so there's a couple things on there that you can choose from, and I am really excited to announce the Chapter 6 round table giveaway winner, Addie Thompson.
Addie.
Addie.
That was just the lamest sounding name between the two of you.
Yeah. Addie's like, I'm not listening to this show anymore. They just mocked me. Come on, guys, put some heart into it. Addie Thompson is her name, and she wrote a really delightful little review in which she disclosed her name is Adeline.
Aw.
And she wrote
That's the best.
She wrote when Alexandra's character's name first came out, it cracked me up because her character's name, Adeline, is my name. And in the beginning, all of you guys kept referring to her as Adeline, which happens to me on a daily basis. She says it makes my day when Junk calls Adeline Addie because that's my nickname. Awesome podcast. Thank you guys so much. Also, I skipped to the end of it. The beginning was I've never been one to listen to podcasts or D&D, but she came from Myth Understood, as a lot of listeners do, Paul's other fantastic podcast, and followed. She absolutely loves this show, and we absolutely love her. So Addie Thompson, thank you so much for your awesome review. Send an email to us at contact@dndwpod.com, and we'll let you know what you've got. You have until the next roundtable comes out to do so, to claim rewards. And if you didn't win this week and you've left a review recently, you are still in the running. We do not take time into consideration when selecting our review winner. So if you left a review in the first 2 weeks of the show and you still haven't won, you're still in the running. It is a randomized review based on what the actual rating is. If you leave us a 1-star review, we're probably not going to include you in that because you're probably not listening to the roundtables anyway. But you get it. Leave us a rating.
I hate listen.
That is how most people enjoy things these days anyway.
You got to make sure they send in that info, or else Matson is going to claim that prize instead.
It's true.
That's true. Matson is
Get on that.
Yeah, he is
He
definitely.
still has more room in his pack.
So please leave us those reviews. They really go a long way, and we absolutely love it. And before we close out for this week, I want to talk a little bit about an idea that we have here at D&DW Pod for you, the listeners. It has come to our attention that a lot of our listeners have reached out and specified, I absolutely love this show. You guys have introduced me to D&D and role-playing games, or I haven't played in a long time, and now I want to play again. But these people don't have the friends playing in their world. So what I would love to do is I would love to establish a D&DW Connect program where if you specifically in the middle of wherever you live want to play a game, but you just don't know people, let us know. Shoot us an email at contact@dndwpod. Let us know where you are, and we will try to connect people if we find people in the same place. I want to give a shout out now to one of our listeners, Ali Nick on Instagram. Ali's, you're incredibly supportive. We thank you so much for, by the way, your donation off of our Amazon wish list. It is very beneficial to the studio, so we appreciate that. But Ali wrote us and said, hey, I want to play. She is in Central Florida, and doesn't currently have a game or friends who are playing. So if you are a listener and you are also in Central Florida and you want to maybe start a game up, and that's the thing about D&D is, you don't have to play weekly. You don't, you can make it a monthly thing. It's still really fun and carries along. So even if you drive an hour or two in some direction, it's totally worth it because you make a day of it and, you get everybody together. Hell, we play for 8-hour sessions sometimes as we play this game. So I feel like people will travel for this sort of thing if they really enjoy it. So if you live in Central Florida, hit us up. And if you want to just put this out there on Twitter of where you are, tweet at us and use the hashtag D&DW Connect. Hashtag D&DW Connect. And that way, if you are looking for games, you can also search that hashtag and see what people are saying, where they are, and how they're putting games together. Also, I am absolutely 100% sure that there are plenty of websites and plenty of things out there that help facilitate this. And if you know of some, please also share those with people so that those listeners who are like, hey, I want to give this a shot, can find some games.
Oh yeah, and I don't want to de-emphasize the importance of being in the same room while playing D&D is certainly, I think, D&D at its best.
Sure.
But I play a game with friends who are on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast, and it's a 3-hour time difference, but we get together and play on Google Hangouts.
Yeah, Google Hangouts or Skype. I actually had that here in my notes as well. Like you don't, even if you're on the other side of the country, it's still doable. Listen, you can talk digitally. It's the 90s. We have the technology. So please, again, if you're out there and you're going, I wish I had a game to play with, then let the world know. And maybe we here at D&DW Pod can try to help connect you with your next role-playing game. Again, there's so many different styles. I feel like if you listen to this show, you're probably all into playing the same kind of game. So I feel like the listeners of the show will all probably easily get together with each other and play a cohesive game. And
What if two people get married from two people that we connected into a game?
Wow, we've really thought it far ahead.
Wow.
I just believe in love.
Aw.
Oh, that was the sweetest thing ever.
I love that idea.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you're really putting a lot of pressure on listeners now.
Maybe they just become besties.
Or maybe their characters just get married.
Ooh.
All right, what if we forget about
We'll
this?
officiate.
Let's forget about this entire thing. Let's make D&DW Connect just a dating site.
Okay.
We've escalated
I
here.
feel like that's a fair idea too.
That's true. I mean, again, probably something that already exists.
Yeah.
The like, hey,
But your profile can only be your character profile.
Yes.
Mhm.
I was just going to say.
Orcs for porkin'.
well, with that, we really appreciate you listening. And
Great, Jake, you're wrapping up because I
Yes.
could use more tea.
do whatever you have to do while I do the business here. So as always, make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram at D&DW Pod. And what? Oh my God!
Oh.
Oh, geez.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I thought this was a club by the name of Beats.
Is
No.
that hat talking over there?
No,
Behind the couch?
it's clearly it's
Kelber
Kelber
Ornie.
Ornie, come here. Come
Oh.
around the couch. Come around the couch. Here, do you need it lift? Do you need to get up?
I can help myself
Oh, okay.
up, thank you.
Okay.
I will just. I really thought that I got an invitation to have a discussion with some people, and I thought that we were meeting at the club.
Oh, I feel like you probably don't come to Earth and this realm often.
No.
So you have been here in the past. Maybe you just did you type in the wrong address into your GPS? Maybe.
I'm looking for table service. Can someone give me a Bloody Mary?
I mean, yeah, we can make that work.
course.
We want to grab. All right. Well, yeah, we'll get you
Extra
some.
blood, please.
But regardless, it's so good to see you. Thank you so much.
well, thank you for having me.
Accidentally barging in. But if you don't mind, while you're here, I feel like we could probably ask you some questions and just kind of hang out for a minute. We do have a little bit more time. I guess I don't have to wrap the show up right now.
That'd be excellent. I got specifically. I got a message via carrier pigeon from a Matt Hinksman who was wondering about the happenings and goings-ons of what we uncovered in the.
Matt, did you?
Yeah. I want to make sure I know exactly what's going on.
Oh, in the world of Rymore?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't. First off, Matt, I didn't even realize that you had carrier pigeons. I've known you for so long, and
I mean, you can
my
rent
first-
them now.
My first one.
Oh, it's your first one. Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. How's that going? Are you enjoying that?
Well, he's here, right?
Oh, I guess it worked.
Yeah.
It worked great.
I sent Maribel back to you carrying a Swiss pie.
Wow. Has that made it back to you yet, Matt?
I'm waiting.
Oh, okay. Great. Well, I can't wait to have a little, you have to invite me over for that. Well, in any case, I thank you so much for responding to Matt's thing, despite the fact that apparently you were looking for the club. So yeah, what's been going on in the world of Rhymemore with Kelber Ornie?
Oh man, so I've been nose deep in the books because
that was going to go someplace else, knowing
Me too.
your reputation.
I've not been able to be nose deep in much of anything else recently.
That's right.
Just the revelations of what we uncovered in the Gandra pit over there in Dagra was quite fascinating. What specifically is troubling you? I couldn't read your handwriting. You weren't writing in common tongue.
Just a little clarification on the pit itself and what that ghost guardian was protecting, and what the dwarves were still doing down there. The ghost dwarves.
So in my research, I discovered that when the sorcerers came down to Rhymemore, that there was once magic native to the land of Rhymemore. The dwarves fought against the sorcerers, and also on their side were the Skytillers. The Skytillers, some variety of giant that is yet unknown to us. So the giants and the dwarves, the little and the tall, work together to fight against these sorcerers.
And when you say the sorcerers, is that what's referred to as the Old World Wizards in the Rhymemore lore?
Yes, the Old World Wizards. That's a hard thing to say.
Tongue twister.
I wish Junk was here. He's much better at the alliteration than I am.
Which is weird because he's not. It doesn't seem like he reads a lot.
No.
I mean,
well, he reads his bird book.
He does read the
he
bird
loves
book.
the cuckoo birds.
He loves cuckoo birds, but I feel like he's got.
Is he just looking at the pictures?
But I feel like he's got a pretty good vocabulary for alliterations for a guy that doesn't read or write that well.
He has a gift that has just gone to waste.
Sure. So anyway, so the Old World Wizards were battling against the giants and the dwarves, or the Skytillers.
Yes. And I'm not entirely sure what the Skytillers did. The references say that they pulled the elements down from the clouds. That was their job, to rattle the clouds, as it were, to get snow and hail and rain and
Lightning.
People would, farmers would say, "Oh, great Skytiller, bring me rain," and they would, I don't know, give them tidings or a blowjob or whatever, and they would just rattle the clouds, and it would rain suddenly upon the crops.
Is this lore something that you sort of subscribe to? Because I know,
I take everything with a grain of
yeah,
salt.
because you come from a Kelber temple, a Kalbana temple rather, in which everybody, from my understanding, was a magician, was a sorcerer, or what's the right word? A wizard,
a mage,
Thank you, and
a magic fondler.
Yeah. I like that. We're going to use that. But you yourself are more of an alchemist. You believe more in sort of the science side of what we refer to as magic.
I prefer to be called practical, as opposed
practical
to
magic?
as opposed to fanciful. I don't know what you're referencing there, but
oh no, I just thought you were getting at something. That's fine.
Yes, but yes, that's sort of what I subscribe to, is this idea of myths and legend come from some semblance, some kernel of truth, but they're certainly not to be taken word for word.
Right.
So whether or not these giants actually had the power to wield the elements, I mean, that's certainly not beyond the scope of what can happen in Rhymemore, but I'm not sure that they were doing it with a great stick as they are depicted with, but perhaps they were. So yes, the Old World Wizards defeated the dwarves and the Skytillers in this great battle. Then they enslaved the dwarves and used them to mine the innate source of magic in Rhymemore, and all of that magic was taken away. And what was left behind were these Kelbana stones, which became our only source of native magic.
Yeah, I mean, you dedicated your entire life essentially to guarding
exactly
the Kelbana stone of Shell's Basin, or of Shell's Landing rather.
And the thought that had been passed down, perhaps rewritten, as we all know, history is written by the victors, that we have these Old World Wizards saying, here, Rymor never had any magic. We're so kind. We're
Here's
going to
your
give
gift."
you these little balls of magic. And boy, did we! There's poems and songs and limericks about these old world wizards that just say the world of them.
So I feel like your entire worldview must be sort of upside down after learning what we learned.
I'm a little shocked, but I'm also so used to disappointment that I just
Nothing surprises you now.
Really.
I mean, when you're as old as you are.
Exactly. I'm 180 years young.
What does that mean for the future of Rymor, do you think? I mean, if this gets out, how does it affect the people of Rymor, if the truth, so to speak?
Well, I sort of wonder, given that the Gnome Empire is collecting all this magic right now, it may surprise them to learn that the magic is actually growing back in our land, as I would suspect with that stalagmite that
Right.
Layla had introduced us to, that it might throw a cog in their plans just in general.
So maybe there is a good source of magic in Shell's Basin
There might
after
be.
all, maybe
Yes.
even greater than down south.
Yes.
In Brayfost.
Is it possible the magic that was mined went somewhere and still is out there?
Oh, yes. I believe that the magic was taken up north where the old world wizards came from.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only imagine that if they had native magic of their own, it was either depleted in a similar way, the way that the shadow elves tend to use magic, or they just wanted more. They're like, maybe I could turn this entire tree into a diamond. I don't know how magic works. I've really just been doing the alchemy.
Sure, that makes sense. Well, yeah, I mean, it really is quite fascinating, and I can't wait to see sort of how this unfolds for this horrible civil war that's occurring right now in Rymor, if you can call it civil.
Yes, uncivil is
Sure,
certainly
sure.
what you're saying. Yes.
Well, with that information aside, while we have you here, if you don't mind, I know you probably do want to get to this club after all. If you want, when we're done here, we can call you like a Lyft or an Uber.
Thank you, Alex, for this Bloody Mary. It's really, it's good. Not as much blood as I'm used to, but the eyeball sticking out of it is a nice touch.
I'm so glad you like it. Yeah.
Alexandra has
I have a gift.
yeah, she's got a real gift in the kitchen when it comes to using eyeballs for cooking. I don't know where that went.
I just see the ingredients and know what to do.
It's true. You know what? I bet you in another life she probably would have been an exceptional alchemist.
I can see that.
I want to talk really quickly while we have you about Layla. 'Cause
Oh,
you seem to have quite a connection with the old mystic knight.
oh yes. Oh, not that old. But
I meant like old, like he's my old pal, not
Oh.
like old as in
I got you. Well, is that how you meant that I was old too?
No, you were actually old.
Actually, ancient and
you were
decrepit.
very
Thank you.
old.
Well, she's certainly a capable woman, and I've had a penchant in my life for attracting capable warriors. I don't know if it's because they see me and my stature and my size, but perhaps they're attracted to that. I have banged so many great warriors, men and women alike, just so many physically capable beings, and then they might see me, and my mind has been described as a hardened stone, and they might see that in me, and
Sure.
there's that expression. What is it? I take 2 steps forward, I take 2 steps back. We come
Opposites
together.
attract. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, I'm surprised that you know. Do you have? Is Paula Abdul very popular in Rymor?
Paula Abdul originated in our lands, and then
Oh my God, that makes so much sense now.
passed over. I mean, it was documented in her song "Straight Up." You can see it in the music video. The half of the screen is black and half the screen is white, and that's actually a symptom
depiction.
of the portal that she traveled through.
Oh my God, so many things are making sense
Wow.
now in the career of
MC Rap Cat, of course. I
Well,
mean,
MC
did
Rap-
you
everybody
really
knows.
think that he came from your land?
No, we knew MC Rat Cat was from a different dimension. I mean,
Yeah.
only because there is nobody in the dimension that's just that cool.
Yes,
Yeah,
of course.
So that level of coolness must come from a different.
Can't be
land.
innate to
Yeah,
Earth.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'd be remiss not to ask you a couple more questions before you leave here. What are your thoughts on what's happening with the small elven girl that Matson has finally reclaimed, who has been turned into this source of power herself.
Oh yes, the freaky little egg lady. I have, it's such his own personal thing that he's dealing with, and you may not have realized this, but Matsson's very secretive.
I've noticed.
And the way that he cradles that egg, it's very interesting because he has professed his dislike for birds, and yet at night, it's like he sits on it like he expects it to hatch. It's very unusual. And so I give him his space, and if he comes to me and says, "Hey, is there any alchemy that you might be able to utilize to try to return this girl to her form," I would be interested in assisting him in that.
Who do you think she is? Do you have any speculations? We all have wild speculation of who the girl is, but I don't know if you do.
From just looking at her as an egg, she looks like a Candace to me.
Okay.
I'm not really sure though who she could
I meant
be.
sort of like I meant
Shelley.
sort of like a relation to Matsson.
I like that, Shelley. I'll be calling her Shelley from now on.
That's good. I meant sort of
Egg?
in relation to
Her?
Matsson. Do you think that she is a relative of his, or somebody that, because we all know that he had spent time in the military up north? Maybe.
Given that Matsson is so driven by his attraction to magic and this former life that he once lived, I can only assume that this girl has a great association with that previous life.
Also, I mean, let's not forget, this was the entire reason Matsson is even in Rymor, was to find and locate this girl who he now has. The fact that he hasn't just bailed on the party is impressive at this point. I feel like maybe you guys have chipped away at his cold soul, and he's starting to care more about what's happening in Rymor.
Or maybe if he's anything like me, he sees that there might be some use to seeing through this adventure in the long haul.
Yeah, absolutely.
How's the Bloody Mary now? Are you feeling the effects?
It's very strong. As you may have noticed, the shoulder of my robe has fallen down.
Oh my!
And I haven't quite decided to fix it yet.
You're just preparing yourself for the club.
Yeah, it's probably a good mindset to be.
You know how some people say that they're I'm a crazy drunk, or I'm a mad drunk,
Yeah.
or I'm a angry. I'm a nude drunk.
I'm not surprised.
Well, thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time here. We're gonna call you would you prefer Uber or Lyft?
I would prefer a pigeon.
Like to carry you?
No,
A literal carrier pigeon?
Pigeon is our brand of Lyft. In Rhino.
Is it spelt with like a wonky way with like
It's
a
spelled
Y?
with a Y. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
They
yeah,
think they're cool.
yeah, like PIDGYN,
Mm-hmm.
pigeon,
Mm-hmm.
or is it the first I? That's the Y.
The two Ys.
two.
Oh, it's all Y's.
PY.
Oh,
P-
gotcha.
Pigeon.
All right, well,
or
I'll
something like
download
that.
the Pigeon app on my phone here, and we'll get you that immediately. Thank you so much.
Can I use your restroom?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, did Paul ever come back from his tea? He might be in there. He might have gotten tea and gone in the bathroom.
Right.
Paul is another member of our little group here that hangs out.
Do you have a stool?
Yeah, there actually is a stool. We have a squatty potty,
Oh, excellent.
so that you can use that as like a little.
no,
stair.
yeah, we have squatty potty.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Kelber Ornie.
Thank you.
Enjoy your pee.
I can't believe Ornie stopped by.
I know.
That was so weird.
How random.
What are the odds that
Oh,
we
missed
talk?
him again.
Yeah, Paul is gonna consistently, I feel like, miss out on Kelber Ornie. Anyways, let's do the actual wrap up. As I was saying before, we were not so rudely and fantastically interrupted by Kelber Ornie. Please find us on all social media at D&DW Pod, and make sure you're checking out dndwpod.com for tons of fun bonus stuff there. You've got some bonus audio that you're not getting in your podcast feeds, some character art, some maps, pages out of Paul's book. There's all sorts of fun stuff on there. And the best thing at D&DW Pod is the shop. Please, if you're enjoying the show, the best way that you can show your support is by going to the shop. You can go to dndwpod.com and just click shop in the corner. There are some really fun shirts. There is the traditional D&DW Pod logo. We've got some Rymor travel shirt. We've got some critically clumsy shirts, which a couple people have purchased and have been thoroughly enjoying. And if you do check out the shop, Make sure that you post some photos on Instagram when you get your merch so that we can share it. And you can let us know, how it looks. Because if there's something wrong, if you, hey, this design's too big, this design's too small, let us know. Because we want to make sure that everybody thoroughly enjoys what they get and that they are touting their podcast pride while simultaneously supporting their favorite D&D podcast. With that said, make sure you're leaving those rating and reviews, and make sure you're sharing the show with friends. Use hashtag D&DW pod. And let's grow the community. Use hashtag D&DW Connect if you want to find games, as we talked about earlier, and all that fun stuff. Thank you so much for listening. We absolutely love you. I am Jake Lloyd.
I have tea.
Oh, Paul's back with tea.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
What kind of tea did you get?
I got the whiskey tea from Scotland.
Oh, yeah, that's I haven't tried it yet.
It tastes. I don't really taste the whiskey.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right, well, we're wrapping up. Say goodbye to the people.
Oh, goodbye.
Matt Hicksman saying bye.
So long, farewell.
On behalf of everybody here at D&DW Pod, we will see you next quest.
It's Dragon Wagon.